supply his bulk.
Well, I tried to explain to
Then
him,
we'd have him buy fuel.
To get it
Steve would get fuel from
show
North
ready.
Dakota as well.
like, and I don't mean
And
to
he could
sound
take that
sexist, but
4,000
when mama walks in the front door,
he could put,
that's what's gonna matter.
8,000 gallons of diesel. Which
you don't have to spend a ton of money, cause 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna get it back, that's the
Which
thing.
you can't
You
now.
will on some
That
stuff,
would give a unit here, and we could have.
but I think he was talking about
here.
countertops or something, and
We could really actually, we could gain a lot more.
Okay.
if we
Half here is
utilize
okay.
it. Steve said, I'd have no problem. Whatever.
Mark, sound off?
And that way, if we keep it
One,
right
two.
in this area, then those guys will keep when they do this market.
all right, it's, a little after 3, wanna call the meeting to order, please?
Traffic in his yard. We're not gonna, this box, the fuel's gonna be right here. We're gonna pull it right
For
here.
public information, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is on the east wall of the Commissioners' room. Roll call, please.
Meyer,
Here.
Harris,
Here.
Knapper,
Here.
Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Yeah, we do, I just want to remind everybody that this, from 3 to 4:30 is a work session. We won't be voting on anything, we'll just be receiving information and discussion about, different items happening throughout the county. So with that, can I have an approval of the agenda that's submitted, or any changes?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Record your votes, please.
I didn't put this on there, I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind.
Knapper,
Yes.
Blue,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Reisig,
Okay, the first item that we want to discuss is the, pneumatic upgrade and emergency generator status. Jay, you ready?
On that, as of right now, they're done with the courthouse. To finish up with the admin building, they'd have to shut the boilers down for almost 30 days, so at this time, with the weather the way it's already changing, we don't wanna try that. We're gonna wait till probably March.
Okay,
So the electrician's gonna go ahead and start finishing up what they can. So when they have to shut the boilers down and do all that changeover, the electrical will be done and it'll be a faster change.
so what do we have done so far up to this point?
Courthouse is complete,
Courthouse is done, but nothing administration
Right.
building, is that correct? Okay,
that's correct.
so if we have a power outage, the old
But no.
generator still has to kick in, right?
Well, we're not talking about generator, we're talking about pneumatic system first. So,
Okay, misread it,
that's all
sorry.
right, that's okay.
We're talking about the heating system.
Yeah, the
The
heating
heating
system,
system.
yes, yes.
Heating
Gotcha,
And
okay.
air conditioning.
Right. Now, on the generator, I just got an email today from, Power Tech, that's who won the bid for the generator. They still cannot get, they sent me an email, but they still cannot get the breakers in for the generator. They're hoping to have them by December, middle of December. At that point in time, they need to pour concrete and everything else and do all that, and Wes Robinson's guys that have to do all the work outside. They're asking if we can wait till March. They have everything in with the exception of the switchgear, and the switchgear's there, but they're just waiting on these 2 great big breakers from Siemens, which is out of Germany, so they have no idea on the time frame.
Sure.
So, they're asking, so if they can start in March. And I said, well, we don't have to pay, I've talked to Heather about it a little bit, and we don't have to have it paid anyway until the end of 2025, so, as long as they get it in. So yes, we would just operate on the generator there downstairs for right now.
That shortens up our warranty though, don't it?
I haven't checked on that, but that's a good question, I'll make a note of that to make sure it
We wanna
doesn't.
be sure we get full warranty on that.
Okay. So
Does
that's
the
what
warranty usually start once it's deployed?
Usually,
you got two.
But usually when you order it, I mean, like that.
sometimes they go by the date code on the stamp on the machine.
Yeah, when they build a machine for you, they start then, but if it doesn't get installed for a year, we better get.
I think I
that
could
back.
probably have them put an addendum
All we have
on
to do
it.
is ask for it, they'll generally do it, but if we don't ask, we don't receive it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
okay.
Okay,
You want some?
Next,
I
next,
made
I'll just
some.
stand right here.
yep, let's talk about the fuel tank.
Okay, fuel tanks, you guys got the paperwork on it. Lisa's got some stuff, got everything we had on, here. And there's a couple different proposals,
Where do you want me to start?
just on the pictures.
Nebraska Line 4 tanks or this other
Well,
one?
you can go to the Nebraska Land 4 tanks right now. This is kinda what, this is 4 tanks down in Nebraska Land, this is down in Omaha, or I think this is in Omaha. But anyway,
Have you seen this, Steve? No, this picture here. This is what one of those tanks are gonna look like.
these are what the tanks, this is 4 of the tanks, we're getting 1, if we go with another diesel tank, we'll get 2.
Are these used or new here, Jay?
These were just installed 6 months ago, so.
So they're in a different, so we're gonna buy a used tank? is what
No,
we're gonna-
we're buying new tanks.
Not he's just showing
These are just
for
what
pictures.
theirs look like.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
this
I
is
asked for a
what
picture
we're-
of them, so we had an idea. So, anyway, ours, the only thing is, if you see the black hose reel on the far right of the first tank, there's one on each tank. Ours aren't coming back over on the other side, those black right there. That is, we're not getting the hose reel, we're just gonna get like a hook, just a hook to hang them on, and they'll have a 25-foot. So
How-
they can fuel on either side.
How big are those?
10,000 gallons,
What's the diameter of
10.
that tank?
12 feet.
So
job,
it
Jay.
does, would we say a truckload is how many gallons?
8,000.
Well, about 9,000.
Good.
But they would like to haul at least 8.
Yeah, they'll haul 9 normally.
Okay. But this would, generally speaking, we would be talking about being able to hold a full
Full load,
truckload.
yeah. If we get down to 1,000 gallons or less, we should be fine for a full load.
Okay.
And I did notice Sap Brothers the other day when they came to town, they have a body and pull, and then they've got a 4-wheel pup that they're pulling, so they can either bring in, 4,000 or 8 or 9,000.
And how many of these tanks are we looking at, Jay?
Just one right now. He did send us a bid for a diesel tank if we decide to go with a diesel tank in the future. The distributor, or the little black box back there with the blue thing on top of it, that's actually where the printout will come, and when you pull into the yard, next to this thing, a beacon inside of your vehicle will signal that, tell it that you're there and what vehicle you own. So you won't have to get anything out, it'll all be just right there.
Probably recorded. So if we
And then
decided to add another tank later, it's not that big a deal.
The one he's sending us, that one they're selling us it'll do 2 fuels, so.
Okay.
It'll do a diesel and gas.
Yeah, it can be any of 2 fuels. So we have to do the electrical, the bollards have to be 4 feet apart. Other than that, then there'll have to be emergency stop buttons, and then there's, they'll give us the specifications for the electrical. It does not have to be on concrete, it can be on rock or crushed concrete. If it's on crushed concrete, it has to have a rock ring that goes around it. They're providing the rock ring, we just have to provide the rock, just so it has a place for moisture to go and seep away from. Otherwise, on a concrete, it'll just run away, so it doesn't sit underneath there and rot. There'll also be like cathodics anode that'll be in the ground and attached to each one, also to keep them from rotting as well. They're double line tanks. The outside tank, the tank will hold 1/2 of the gallon from the inside tank.
I was wondering how you were getting by with that, but, so there's 2 tanks.
It's a double wall tank, yes.
And then, I know you're gonna talk about it in a minute, but this is a lease, not a purchase.
Okay, the tank is a purchase. The tank is purchased, and on the lease agreement, agreement, it's $48,556. Yeah.
That's not it. Proposed RFP?
So it'd be just Scotts Bluff County Fueling bid, like the 4th one down on the bus barn. Right there. Oh, no.
County field, right there.
There you go. That's the price for the other tank, that's the diesel tank. Just keep it. a second tank cost. The extra cost on top of, go ahead, keep going past those two, we're not talking about that anymore. Okay, the tank there is $48,556, and we will buy that outright. As long as we stay under $50,000, that's why we didn't have to go out for the RFP. Then on to the next one, is the lease, then there's where the lease agreement starts at $32,932. At that point, we will pay what tank was it? It should be in there. Hang on a second.
Oh, there's the lease on that.
$4705 a month for 6 months, and, or for 6 months, and on the 7th month, we pay the same payment, and it'll all be paid for. So that's how we get with the lease agreement.
There it is.
So we're leased with purchase.
The electrical, the management, fuel management system. We're buying the tank and leasing the fuel management system.
How long are we gonna lease that for, Jane?
6 months.
6 months, and that's just to get us into our next
That'll
budget.
get us into
Would
next
we be
year.
better off because of, we know stuff's gonna go up, of purchasing a diesel tank now? Don't we have a need for a diesel tank?
Well, that's up to Steve. Steve
Yeah,
needs a
it's,
diesel.
that'd be up to them, but to him, but I mean, you're looking at about the same cost. In 6 months, I don't predict that it'll probably be much different.
Where are you getting your diesel now, Steve?
We have, underground tanks for our diesel in here now, 2,000-gallon tanks.
So there wouldn't be a need for an additional tank then, really?
You know, not at this point, but we would have an additional tank if this gas system was put in out there. You know, if we switched over to it, we could drain our other gas tank down and we could use that essentially for diesel too, and that'd be another 4,000 gallons.
That'll get us up to almost a
So that'd be
semi-load.
8,000 gallons of diesel.
And that's gonna give us an additional cost of what we figured into about $70,000 a year in fuel savings. We didn't include them in that figure, because they were using their own gas. That's, was just the, transportation or transit office, sheriff's department, us, assessor, you know, and everybody else.
And how much of this work again do we have to do?
All we gotta do is the infrastructure, so we gotta do the electrical and basically the groundwork. That's
The
what- and
groundwork
the
where they
fence,
go.
and the fence.
Okay,
When we get to talk to other pictures with the fences, I'll tell you what we kinda looked at, Russ and I kinda looked at. We have enough fence out there where we wouldn't really be buying any fence, we'd just be relocating the fence we have.
so
So,
we'll be secure then.
But before we get really into it, I'd really like to get Steve on board with this and,
right.
you know, Kurt too.
Well, we've got, the thing is, we can look at what we've talked about, and we can make changes. We've got 10 weeks from the time that we sign the contract until they can deliver on the tank. That's how long it takes to build. That's how far they are, the tank companies are far behind building tanks right now. And we're looking probably about the end of January before we could get,
If we proceed forward.
if we
with it
proceed
now,
forward tonight at the meeting, we could go,
Yeah.
we'd be about the end of January, end of February before we get the tank installed.
yeah. Sure.
And by then, we'd be into 6 months lease, we'd be into the next year's contract, and there's a couple other things I wanna bring up on this when I get to that.
So was the lease, when we talk about the lease was used to help us, stay under the amount, to have to go out for bid, and to maybe defer that into the next,
Because there wasn't
Fiscal
nothing in the
year.
budget, there was nothing in the budget for that electronics. So if
Okay.
we push it forward 6 months, then we can budget for it.
otherwise we'd have just paid for it at the time.
I don't see why we can't if we're using capital
We
funds.
could, but then we'd have to turn around and go right back to we'd have to go out for an RFP, cause we're over 50,000.
I think we better
Gotcha.
stay with the
Okay.
lease for 30 days. We
I
better
see.
engage that lease for at least 30 days.
All right,
The
so
RFP
it's,
process just takes so much longer.
right,
I did send it out to the 3 companies as I wrote in my letter there, Westco, and then also to Midwest Petroleum. They were the first company to come out and show interest in that. None of them, with the exception of Worthman, said they're bid back, so I'm not sure. So Charlie.
So just to clarify, adding the diesel tank is only gonna increase the cost by $13,643.
No.
Okay,
Another 48,000.
Another 48,556, it's the same price as what we're paying for the tank. And then the 13,000 is to add on the software and everything else for the other tank. to
oh,
run
okay,
it through the
I gotcha,
system.
I had just asked Jay to get a quote on a diesel
Yeah,
tank
he just
along with
asked
this,
me if-
because just in case Steve might wanna throw it into next year's budget, I don't know, maybe we.
But if we
should
already
have
have a
it all.
diesel tank that we're using, it's adequate, it's working, there's no reason to spend another $48,000, right?
Your tanks, Steve, are
Yeah, so far they're okay, I mean, they're underground, so.
they're bolted.
Well,
They're vaulted in the location, so.
my,
2,000.
they're two 2,000 gallon tanks.
Two 4,000, aren't they?
No, but yeah, 4,000 gallons total,
Yes.
Right.
so we're,
That's in gear, that's every shop, really, every shop has it.
so we can only take straight trucks, we can't take a full semi for the road department.
Well, if they drop it, if they drop it these other two locations,
Yeah, when we order for all three shops.
I see.
So depending on the gallons, they might bring a truck and a pumper, just depends on the gallons. They drop in all three shops when they come, so.
But the existing gas tank you have right now for your shop is 4,000 gallons, right?
Yes,
What
the
we
gas
talked-
tank is 4,000.
So if you add that to yours, you'll come up with 8,000 gallons of diesel underground.
I see, okay.
Yeah,
That's just using everything he's got, not spending any money.
and the thing you need to understand is that it wasn't cheap to put those other tanks underground into the vault system.
so. you
That
would-
was, I know that was a requirement in the last 10, 15, 20 years, whatever.
Like, yeah, thinking like 80, 95 or something like that, they would
Yeah.
use double wall.
So those tanks had to be, well, new tanks and a vault system and everything else, and we spent a ton of money on what we already have.
And when we talk about diesel, usage, it's 98% would be roads department as far as, even when we consider the whole
Pretty much
county, right?
100%.
I would say 99.5%.
I don't
Okay.
think we have one diesel vehicle in the county.
Otherwise.
Otherwise, besides
Right.
that.
So, yeah, I get, my only, issue was being able to buy the truckload quantities, but you're doing that now anyway, basically, or you would be able, yeah, you're doing it anyway.
For diesel,
Yeah, that's what I mean, not for gas. And gas, as you said, we could let you participate in using this tank and then convert your other one to, your gas tank to diesel, and then you would surely always have enough capacity
Fairly close for a full truck.
for a full truck.
It's gonna help, it's gonna,
that would be just at the gearing shop, so.
Right. And so, so then, based upon those numbers we had before, when the full truck quantities is where we really had the potential for savings. And so if we're able to do that both in gasoline and diesel,
it's a big deal.
then can be a big deal. But we wouldn't have to get a diesel tank like this, at least not immediately.
Not at this point,
No,
no, but I just had Jay just to give Steve an idea what it would run if he wanted to budget it for next year, if he had room in his budget, but
Right.
if he can gain up, if we can put that tank out there, kick him up to 8,000 gallons in his yard, I think he's gonna be sitting pretty good for a little while. We talked about it this morning. I think he'll be sitting pretty decent, you know.
All your pickups are gas, that's about it.
Yeah, all the pickups are, I guess we do it, yeah, the bridge pickup is a diesel, so. Yeah, all the pickups are gas, all of the weed department's gas, zoning's gas.
How about your service
Is-
truck? Is that decent?
The service truck is gas, only the bridge pickup is diesel.
Sorry.
So,
I think the weed department's two components are diesel, but they don't use, but.
are you purchasing all non-highway diesel or tax exempt, or are we but we normally have to pay tax
We pay the road tax every quarter.
on the,
On the red fuel, yeah.
okay. And so those that are, you got at least one or two pickups or trucks,
Yep.
would those technically, and you would pay the road tax on that, is what
Yep,
you're saying?
Yep, we have a list of our equipment, we send it to them quarterly.
And
All
you
the
can-
trucks that are on there, the pickup, and
Good,
the
Mileage.
gallons, and then what the rate is for that
Perfect.
quarter, and send it in.
so you do pay it on those, but we buy it as non-highway diesel. Okay,
So it appears we have an adequate diesel facility that we could add to if you took one of the tanks, the tank that you have gasoline in, and use this system for your gas, put diesel back into that, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay,
So, I'm liking the system that recognizes the vehicle. You have some kind of sending unit off the vehicle or
That's
something.
the way I understand it, yes, so far.
And then, I wondered if, we would be considering putting any kind of a camera
Oh,
in
yeah.
that area?
If we get to the pictures of where we're thinking about putting the stations, we already have Wi-Fi and cameras in the bus barn.
Right, that's
So
what
we
I
would
thought.
just add cameras to the system there, so we can
Good.
also have cameras on that, not only where it's fueling, but also off where the tank's at, everything, so.
Good, I think that's critical part of this.
So on the picture about releases, you can look at this packet I gave you, it shows you two different options on the drawings.
You want the other one?
Options 1 and 2. Options 1 and 2. Back to the,
Good, go back to the, get it the other
Back to
one
the
up.
folder.
options.
Right here, this one?
Okay, there's number 2. Some reason number 2 got in front of number 1, but anyway. You can go clear down. You can just see, give you a perspective of what everything's got. The road bridge building's right, the road maintenance shop is right there. Where this is with the tank being on the north side of the building. The tank would actually sit in the parking lot. The problem with that is, we're gonna take 4 or 5 parking spots away. Russ and I kinda looked about where we could maybe do something with some parking there. But the rest of that fence would go away. There'd be a man gate, you can see kind of like a man gate to the north side of the building. Just where, right in front of where it says shed, that's just a big hanging man gate. And there, the shed part is so we can put a few, things like, windshield washer, that kind of stuff, food, that kind of stuff in that, to keep it locked up. We really would have to be totally locked, just be in the fence. Just at least keep us in the house. And then we could drive through, where it says 31 feet, that's how far we are from the sidewalk, and that's where the,
That whole fence comes out,
Setback.
right?
it's not quite to scale anyway. Take that fence out there, and that would be the drive-through, and that's the driveway right in front where the fence ends. I should see it over here. This fence would come out all the way over to here. This is north of the shed, of course, and then this is actually a paved apron right now. We just figured we would rock this for now. We already have a drain problem with this building draining into this area, and it wants to run a ditch down through here. So I thought maybe we could just pull a ditch down through here, put a culvert through here, pump the culvert out into the street, so everything would kind of try to keep away from this washing out.
Is that where the bus barn garage door is,
The
right
garage
here?
doors are here, there's one here and then one clear over there. This roof is not a hipped roof, that kinda makes it look stupid, but I tried to make that look like a roof, so, anyway, this is actually the front of this.
which when it was built was below grade.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those doors face east then,
Yes.
Rundell Road.
I think it was about a foot below or a foot and a half below grade.
Yeah, because we had to put it all around it.
And then you're gonna tell us about the other option on the
Yep,
south
so we
side?
go to the next one, Lisa. Back to this one. This one's on the south side. There's a man door here that goes into the truck into the bus wash where they wash their bus. This is where the gate is now, down here. Propose take this fence out, going around and then tie this fence back, new fence, or this existing fence, take this new fence, move this gate back here, so Steve guys can still get in, get by that, and get to the back of the backside of their door. And then this side would stay the same, gives them a place to go in. If they fuel up on their passenger side, they can go in this way. If they fuel up on their driver's side, just whichever way, they've got options how they can get in.
Jay, how many departments are we looking at using this facility?
Transit, sheriff's office, my department, if Steve's office uses it, assessors, Tim.
So basically, anybody that has a vehicle will be
Anybody's
using
got a
this,
vehicle,
will be using that, okay, gotcha.
The sheriff, I did talk to him this morning, they're gonna keep their co-op cards, because a lot of times their deputies will get out outside of the area, that they don't have to come all the way back to here to get fuel, you know, they'll still use what they're using.
But have to pay a higher price for it,
They'll have,
basically,
yeah, they'll
yeah,
get a higher price. You know, they don't have no idea what they're gonna run after $100
okay.
come back.
But you would use this
I think
too,
that
right?
could be made as a
Okay.
temporary
And
situation.
transit, I forgot about transit.
We would use this 90+% of the time. The
Detention
order would
center
be to
transit.
use this, but there's times when we need gas and we can't
Oh,
get
yeah.
back.
If you're out of town.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we'll use this 90%.
You know,
That's-
you guys
that's
travel,
understandable.
you're going to different states, you do a lot of different things.
When we're here, that's gonna be the standing orders.
So obviously, when we're fueling ourselves and we're also checking our oil ourselves and things like that. So then is that what you were talking about earlier, having a place
Just shed,
for
a shed of some
oil?
kind, just like that, you know, just where we can put stuff in there, if they wanna put oil in, somebody wants to put oil in it, they can. Everybody be kind of
Their
dependent on
own.
their own,
Yeah,
but, I don't know how you guys do it now, sheriff would probably just buy it at the station, right? If they need oil.
Yeah, but it's,
Probably
it's,
just between the
oh,
sheriff.
we've kept some around in our office.
You guys don't use a lot of it.
We don't, no, really, we don't use a lot.
right.
I mean, we keep some of that, we keep some antifreeze and a few other things at our office.
And if that came the case, we could build some lockers or something,
It
Yeah.
could be in this building,
Everybody
a
have
little
their own
building
stuff.
that could all
Yeah,
be
sure.
there.
Yeah, we've done
Like
that.
a vacuum, if they wanted to vacuum the car out or do something, yeah.
Well,
Going back to this other one over here, though, I wanna go back to the other one.
I'm sorry?
I wanna go back to an option two, or one over there. Anyway, with this one being here, come on down, Lisa. Oh, there's, where Steve's vault, no,
The other down.
no,
Oh, the other down?
Yeah.
right there, whoop.
There you go.
I just seen the
Right
back.
there, so he can see the
Back
top.
here is where Steve's, vaults are at. We talked about maybe putting the, just this afternoon, I talked to us about, I think we talked to Steve.
I talked to
About
Steve a little bit
putting
about
our 10,000 gallon tank back where their tank's at. And then piping it around, around this building to this area here, then we would get rid of it. Well, we'd still lose like 3 or 4 spots here,
Why would we lose it? Oh, just on where the end of that
just to get in.
drive, yeah. But I think they could make them up parking. If we poured that slab back, they can make it up, they can double park on that. Where we're fenced out right now, they could, cause you're 31 feet wide, we could put a row of cars on the street and a row of cars on that pad as well.
Anyway, just piping it around underground, or we could probably could just go underground across the back and then go above ground up to the front. And then just have the fill here. But next year, or not some other time, then I'd like to take it and then use this space from here to here, which is about 40 feet. And then use it and build a lean-to 13.6 or taller there over the top of it, so when they pull in there, they would be out of the weather, out of the rain. They're gonna be on the east side of the building anyway, so they're gonna be out of the wind. So it's gonna be protected pretty much anyhow.
you're talking the delivery trucks
And to fill,
and the what?
to fill.
When we're
because
Oh,
When they're,
I see.
So
Well,
when they
yeah,
fill
I
up, they'll be
agree with
standing
that.
under a lean.
delivery truck would actually be in the back where he
If-
would fill,
If you put it back
if we
there,
put the tank back there.
right.
It appears that you're gonna have less work putting it on the north side, right?
Yeah.
Well, for the drainage issues and the other things that you're gonna have to deal with.
That won't amount to much there. That'll be
If we put it
solid.
over here, it won't, this would be better to put it here. I mean, it'll be less work here, I think, yeah. Than to put it clear back there, but, you know, other than taking the parking place.
But it doesn't take the roads area, really, does it? It's not using the back lots.
That's a full parking area, you're gonna
Yeah.
have a lot of people like working out on the street or something, that's full every day, and there's still trouble
Well-
with the traffic, that's fine, so you can like out on the street now.
We have,
From that
have,
side.
Not like my favorite option.
Me either. I like the south side better.
I don't like the, fuel tank just sitting out in the middle of the park.
Me either.
Well, that would need to go back, that's what I was, we need to talk about, see if we can get that back, if it works for you. But anyway, right now, you got cars parking here, and you got a row of cars parking on the street.
Yeah.
Once it's fenced, but I mean, you got 31 feet, here, we can put a row of cars here, and a row of cars on the street side by side. So you'll have double, you got double place to park. That'll increase that parking spot a little bit.
it's gonna set out at the front just as much here as it does tank's gonna be just in front of the building as it
Yeah.
goes up there. It's actually gonna have to go
We put
back.
the tank in the back and we put it that where, all this area here for parking, you're not gonna lose anything other than just maybe a lane here, or maybe two spots.
Yeah, there's plenty of room
Don't have
for it.
spots here that can park. We're not gonna lose hardly any parking, actually, we may gain a little bit.
And we
Once
could
that
put
fence
double,
is
we
up.
could put double row parking in there anyway. That lot's big enough.
So on the other side, you would need to maintain the, no, it says move the gate.
Move the gate, use the existing fence.
That takes up a lot of Steve's, storage space over, I didn't really care for that as well, but I guess,
Are we going to
like
the
I said,
other
we
one?
can't really do that without Steve's blessing on how he wants to set his yard.
So when you say move the gate, if we move the gate, then it could remain closed even if
Right.
we're filling up there. Right, and that's the important thing, I think, that from a security standpoint,
Excuse me.
you don't want to have these vehicles pulling into your yard, I don't think.
Right, 'cause then you have the issue of who's gonna close the gate.
Yeah, exactly, you don't want
I
that.
understand 20 years ago, there was that problem.
Yeah,
Somebody would go in and lock the gates, and
huh?
somebody was back in the impound yard, things, trying to get their vehicle back or something.
30 years ago, 35,
So open this one.
over on Avenue I remember vividly.
You want some,
the
you can have
having
some,
to,
I will not drink
and
it
then
all.
you're on the radio saying, are you coming over to fuel? I'm gonna leave the gate open and, yeah.
This way, everything will be outside, nobody has to go into a gate, I'd rather have that building up there and eliminate that, actually, that first gate, push the building right up to the fence.
How do
so
I
you
do
go
it,
from the
Kelly?
parking into the building, and not even have a double way,
Or
so
can I
you can
do
get
it
into
here?
Steve's yard
Split
and all.
screen.
Do you do it?
I'm kinda close.
How about
No,
you
about
just
this,
drag that?
either area
track
here,
clear
I
off
think
of
the
it?
one big issue
This one? I'm
is
sorry.
traffic on that road. I think we're gonna be susceptible to having accidents out there. There is a ton of traffic on Rundell Road. They get semis, just park out there for bum cars from 6 o'clock in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the
I didn't
afternoon.
open
Just
the
line the
second one
streets, parked everywhere, and I can see the potential, people swinging in there, to get gas and trying to swing out. I can see the potential for accidents happening in that area. If you go out there and just watch the traffic on that road, when you got the city of Gearing runs up and down it, there's a lot of traffic on that road. Those trucks, we've tried to get them to move out of the way, and they line the streets pretty hard. Visibility's not good, so.
That's a city of Gearing street,
It
right?
is now, yes, they annexed it in, what, year, maybe 2 years ago.
I wanna go to another picture when you're done.
But surely we could get some no parking signs and
They're
something,
already up.
But it was a good.
and they
They don't
dis,
enforce it. Yeah, they don't
disregard.
They don't work at all, huh?
Nope, they don't work on that, they park more.
We gotta get some signs that work.
We're out there. You know, Schwann's has a heck of a time when Schwann's was getting deliveries, cause they park right there where they get their truck.
Why didn't I see
You know,
that
there's no
truck?
parking signs up there, they even coned it off one time. Stuck candles out, this was just probably 3, 4 months ago. The trucks just run the candles over and they go in, yeah, they just didn't do it.
What do you think Schwann's will do with that land? Do you think we could buy that
That
land
would
over?
be a good option if Schwann's was gonna sell that.
If we could buy that ground, cause that ties in with us really well.
I don't, they have a huge propane tank, I don't think, or propane to a gas station.
Thanks for trying.
That building won't be worth anything anyway, cause it's all freezer.
All one big freezer, so.
Yeah, it has a nice office and then freezer, and then they got that huge tank there, but. Yeah, so,
What?
but that's my biggest concern about either spot there, I don't like the parking lot one, not too thrilled about the other
So
one.
either spot is not really desirable.
So let's go to
for
that
you,
one.
What we were trying to
Which one?
eliminate, that
That
Jay and I
last
was
one.
looking was, that we
That
didn't
you're on
want to
right
have
there.
anybody back up after they fuel. If we go on the north side of the building, they're
Is
gonna
that
have
what
to
you
pull
said,
in,
Jay?
drive back out, get around. If we had that Schwann's area, we could. make
Here's,
a turn.
here's the other one where we originally started back to begin with. And there's one more, I think, right above that one. Let's go back one.
Oh, shoot, I don't wanna do that. Okay, sorry, your navigators sucks. Okay,
Try that one. There was the one that says, I thought there was one I just sent you that had the fueling station,
the one of these.
it actually had the picture of the bus barn. Or not the bus barn, the original place. Anyway, just go back to that.
Would it be this one? Oh, no, it's not the bid. Sorry, okay.
Let's go back just one second. In this area right here, there's a, this is where we originally talked about, this right here is our sprinkler shed for this entire area. We was gonna use this road, come in,
does the county own that water loadout?
Huh?
Does the county own that water loadout right
All
there?
Reed does.
I thought you said we owned it.
The water.
We own to here, he owns this, and this is a little off, but his pump's there. He's on our ground, I think we gave him some type of blessing delay.
So the parcel line should bump,
Maybe just a little
East.
this way. This is actually where the pump is.
so he owns the pump, but not the road he fills.
Exactly. And this, where the road, this changes field,
Yeah.
see, this is paved, this is ours. That's kind of where the line is, so this is kind of off, so.
Bring it down.
We'd have to, the only thing with this, we'd have to do is put a fence around it, we were just gonna either put a gravel road in there and blade that off, blade his off at the same time, which would be right here, so it should be tough. And then, we'd have to blade down the other line. And then the power comes off of this pole right here, which is already feeding this, that's a main transmission line, so we can pull power from that directly into the pumps there, just put one. Originally, we're gonna go with 4,000 gallon vertical tank, so if we're gonna go with horizontal tank, I mean, actually, we're gonna go with horizontal tank, but now we're gonna go with vertical tank, it will take up less room and less space. Obviously.
As far as convenience for filling, it's on the way from the transit, I mean, from where
That was
they're
the
going.
original thing, and
Yeah,
then it was brought up that didn't wanna affect the looks of the jail, so I kinda went away from.
I really don't want it between two wells, there's two wells right there.
Or just, well,
Any
there's
kind of
one.
a leak, we could sure contaminate groundwater.
The well for Reed's is not a well. It is comes off the city transmission water line, they're pumping
It's not a
city
well.
water. They're buying city water and pumping city water.
so it's all enclosed, it's not a
Yeah.
well.
The next
Yeah.
one's a well, the one right next to the road there's a well.
Our sprinkler system's the only well there where that little shed's at. Where you see that shadow down there?
Right, way at the bottom,
Right.
right there, that's a
Right.
well right there.
That's just a little 8x10 shed. And it just has the well and our sprinkler system, sprinkler clock and stuff in it. So those are our options. I guess my main concern for this evening is we can still talk about this. We've got plenty of time to get the
Yeah.
permit in. My main concern is if we wanna move forward with this tonight, then make the purchase so we can get it, the ball rolling to get the tank here.
So is this an action item on the main meeting?
Yes.
I'm good with it.
As far as contamination issue, you're gonna have more of a problem the farther south you go, correct? If you go to the bus barn, you're probably closer to water there than you are at the detention center.
It's all about the same, about 13 foot static water.
Well, there were 100 and some feet.
Huh?
100 and some feet to that. That well's over 80 foot deep.
Yeah, that's where they're pulling it off of, but static water's 13 feet in Gearing.
So if
Might be
we're
a lot
concerned
older.
about contaminated groundwater,
Gearing Valley Plumbing's 140 feet, cause we drilled it when I worked there.
Well, yeah, that's the bottom of the well, you always.
No, that's the hidden water.
Static water,
Yeah.
and that's
We have
where,
that drain.
Geary Valley
right on the
Plumbing.
south edge of the Gearing Yard there.
But they have a drain at the south end. I don't think we're gonna have a problem with a puncture anyway. We're talking about a double wall tank. So we're not, I mean, the chances is always there, but I don't.
maybe an explosion or something where you lose the whole tank for one reason or another, but normally that's the reason they went with double wall.
Is this where you're
is to
talking
prevent
about?
that from happening.
well, yeah. it
This
keeps
is
them
where you
from
wanted the
rotting
fuel?
through, or somebody shooting a
Yeah,
hole.
kinda where the second vehicle up there, right about there.
So it would
So
go
you
there.
use 4 spots, I think.
There's 4 spots and they can just come in this way and
Right.
fuel up and go.
It'd definitely be a lot handier for the transit buses,
Oh,
For
even if
absolutely.
you drive somewhere else to get to it.
Right.
I mean, we're in Gearing, Nebraska, so it's like, what, 5 minutes from there to the detention center.
We all used to go out there anyway,
Yeah. We used to go out there years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Out there to.
Yeah,
We
where
always-
Steve
we all
gets,
used
where Steve gets his fuel, his gas now, all of us used to go out there.
Well,
But there was problems with the recording system and that kind of stuff.
so my personal opinion, I'll just throw it out there, is that my personal opinion would be to put it over here rather than at the detention center, just simply that, I would suspect our biggest gasoline users are gonna be the sheriff's office and road. Oh, and Kurt's, yeah. And Kurt's already there, a little bit roads, but,
We just gotta find out something that works right there.
right. And so my personal opinion would be to go there. The reason I don't like the jail area or detention center is I just simply, I don't like the thought of more people there and, to me, keeping the detention center somewhat isolated, has some advantage to it for those people running it. And that not having a lot of traffic, and I realize that this would be out on that far corner, but certainly you're gonna be right in the area where they normally would pull in to go to drop off prisoners. And I would just prefer to have less traffic there, not more. And that's the only reason I say it.
But, and out there, you have county eyes on what's
Well,
going on
And
too,
they
a
got a
little
place for a
better.
camera, you know.
Right, I think either way, we would have some county eyes,
Right.
but out there, we certainly would have it, during the day and maybe more with physical eyes, but we're gonna have camera eyes no matter what, the way I understand it. And I love that, that's a necessity, I think. Now, exactly which corner to put that on, my preference, I was thinking was the south. I'm not loving that tank out there in the parking lot, but I'm a little flexible with that, I'm not hung up one way or
There's
the other.
nothing to say that there's a possibility we could still do the same thing. If we hired somebody, we'd have to hire somebody to horizontal drill that from one side to the other side. And still put the tank over here and put the pump out over there. And
I
then
see
we
what
wouldn't
you
take
mean.
any of the parking places because we'd have enough room to get out. But then again, you're back to the same thing like Steve, either road, I mean, 7th Street is like a super highway. So, you know, they're both busy roads is
We
what I'm
got,
trying to say.
we got filling stations right here on M Street, right here north of the courthouse, you know, I mean, they pull right out there, I mean,
But
you're gonna have traffic.
those would be my preferences, but I am okay with, approving the agreement to the extent of ordering the tank. And, so that we can get the thing here.
I definitely want Steve on board to find a placement if we're on this property, so Steve helps us place where that really needs to be.
The things we have to keep in mind is it has to stay 25 feet or within the setback of the front of that building to the street. It has to stay 25 feet away from that building at any point in time or any other important building, as that state fire marshal calls it. They call it an important building. What's an important building? I guess that's important.
If we own it, it's important.
The shed, I don't think is.
You don't think it is, huh?
But we have to
The shed,
assume,
you know,
but we
'cause
have
that
to
would be
assume
further out.
25 feet from the
Right.
big building.
And I'm not sure we can even put that shed on the south side of that building out towards the street. Just depends on Jeff Vance's mood that day.
Jeff Hanson, the fire marshal.
Jeff Vance is the
Jeff
city.
Vance.
Jeff Vance is the city fire, this is not the city fire marshal, but he's the city code inspector.
Yeah. So it'd still be making sure that we're in good shape with them, but
Oh yeah, I called him today, I talked to him.
my simple story would be I'd prefer out there rather than there. And
As far as the gear,
depending on what you guys come up with, I could live with either side, but I think my preference is on the south side, but
well,
I
I
could
was
live with
looking at
either.
more so on the north side because of the protection, chances of putting a lean-to on there. Where over there, this is
Yeah.
already, the structure's already there, all we gotta kick off of it. Over there, we gotta have to build the whole thing.
Right. I see there's
Saving
some
money there too.
advantage and disadvantage to both, and so I'm not gonna be too hung up about that.
I think we just leave it up to you guys to find the best spot and put it down. That's, it appears that Steve has some issues having it on Rundell because of the traffic and, you know, everything else. Moved it over to the other one.
It's hard to say because it's hard to get a picture in my head of how you're thinking of how they're gonna pull in.
Yeah.
They're just gonna swing in straight, try to turn around and go back into U-turns. How it's set
I think either
That's
location,
why we need your help to set it up the way.
either location is going to work,
There's
it's
enough
not,
room in front of that barn to the sidewalk to put a bus there and have about 10 feet. So, like I said, there's 31 feet, so vehicles about 22 feet.
my opinion is that we get it approved, get the cost, get them bought, and then work together.
We'll work on this together.
Work together and put the location in, just let us know where you think the best place is gonna be.
Right. There you can see where his vault's at in comparison to the building right there.
Oh, those are his right there.
That's the vault
Those
right there.
vaults in the back, we
I
could
see.
set that tank around those or on top of them.
That's his diesel vault, his other one's back behind the building.
Is there a chance that you're taking away some parking? You said if you put it on, what, the east side, northeast side? Steve, can
North
they,
side.
can we add some parking to the south side if we would put the fuel tank to the northeast? For the bus parking?
So then the fence would have to be moved in the gate, and that's good.
Is there no way?
Yeah.
There's no way none of your guys can park back here? Right where Kurt's guys park?
Kurt's guys all park, well, the only people park back there is his office people. All his transit people park out front.
Right, we're talking about your
Can,
road guys.
Is there a door, on the south side of that building, an exit door?
There's actually doors on
Lisa,
both
can you
buildings on
bring
both.
So they could park back there and use that door to go in and out of the building, correct?
Nope. That's as far as.
If we went on the south side.
that all we got?
Yeah,
There's
unless
another.
Is there another one that has the whole
I thought I
parking
sent
lot?
you another one.
And is this road guys that park here?
Steve,
or
what
is
would
it-
happen if we took that, and paved some of that parking on the north side of your building between that and Schwann's and parked some of those, your employees on the north side?
You think you have that, Jay?
I thought I sent it just the last day,
Probably good, yeah, I mean, it's
unless
not.
you hadn't seen it yet.
You know, just give us some
I
extra
put
parking,
stuff
cause we're
out
really
there.
short of parking there.
It was one from Amanda.
That's what I was kinda thinking, I could almost just do a Google map, that's the one we
Google
have.
Map
You
would
could
work
do
fine.
that too, that's basically what it was, Amanda sent it to me.
What is it? Rundell Road. What?
Beacon Schneider.
Dot Google.
We've got two dots.
It'll work.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, there, those, okay. Alright, what's Rundell Road, 755?
You just zoom.
Right there at the top. There you go.
Click here.
Oh,
Good deal.
am I there?
Yeah, right over here goes up to it.
Oh, here we go.
Right there, yep, right where your red dot's at.
Back it off. There we go.
On the north end of that building, there's quite a little bit of ground that could be utilized for parking over there on the north side of that green area.
He's talking right here, Steve, where that, that Connex is down here.
Right.
He's talking right in here.
Yeah, if we could pave that, put in some parking there for mostly your guys. Do you have a north door that they can come in, or does that go into your office somewhere?
I know, it just goes into the office, there's no north.
That ain't
door.
gonna work then. Yeah, well, they can still come down the sidewalk, get in
Yeah,
there.
they'd have to go right down the sidewalk, so.
Okay.
Right now, all the cars you see at the front of the building are all employees and right down the side are employees. So,
Could we move a bunch of them over there to that side possibly and open some of that up so we wouldn't crowd that street side quite so much?
Lisa, can you click and drag up? Right there. And down just a smidge. Okay, thank you.
You want it?
Can-
That good?
I've got my bearings about me a little better with this picture. Jay, can you point out option 1 and option 2?
Option one for the south side of the tank would be about where the O is here or the end in that area. This is a fence. The gate is right here. The other option would be the tank has to be, this is a fence that runs right down here. These guys are parked up against. The tank would has to set behind this building, so it's set about where that red and this black vehicle or the gray one and the red would be somewhere right there.
What would be wrong with parking along, not actually on Rundell Road, but our property facing east and west, next to Rundell Road? Is that, could you park there?
We
That's
already are
that's
parked
where
all
the,
the way
door-
down to here.
that's where all the machinery comes in off the street.
I mean, the bus people are parked about down here now.
No, I'm talking about,
They're all
On our
in
lot,
front
he's
here.
talking on our.
I'm talking on our property, Jay.
Well, we
Right
can park
here?
here.
Yeah, yeah.
There.
Only move it to the east and park along, Rundell Road.
Just parking.
You guys have like, I don't know, like 7 spots visitor parking right here, right?
Yes.
Why can't we do a center line in the middle? And then one there.
And they do when you bring them all in.
The center parking part for the parking lot has stayed open just because when we get deliveries, most people don't know to take the road to go back, so we pull into the big parking lot with their semis and then we turn around. So we can get them to go back to the back, so that's why there's only no parking out.
Okay,
This is a trash can.
that could be moved.
Actually, I don't think that's there, I think it's up by the building now, it's still out there.
Oh, well, it was, it used to be there.
So it used to be out there.
Well, to me, if we, can we maybe yet tonight agree on going ahead with the purchase
You
of the
bet. Let's
tank?
do
Yeah, let's do that.
And
do that.
can
We'll
we
work on
agree on
That-
that location rather than the jail location?
I agree with
And
that.
if so, then we're down to that, and then those guys can work on a recommendation.
they wanna put it,
Parking can be
absolutely.
reconfigured here somewhat too, couldn't we, Steve?
This is per box and there's trucks. That's what Steve's talking about. You can get through here. Yesterday I went out there and there's 2 trucks sitting here talking to each other, going the wrong way. One going one way, one going the other way, right in the middle. You couldn't get around them. They're just sitting there bullshitting, waiting to get on in there, so.
Can they,
There's times where you actually gotta drive through the Schwann's parking lot to go
What-
park because they got it blocked off.
Steve, what's that grassed in there, just, don't move, Lisa, right
Oh.
there, that grassed in area right there is, it doesn't,
That's ours, right?
no, across the street, no, across the street, Jay.
This,
I think
right?
right there.
That's part of First
That's
McNess.
First Maness.
Who's that, who owns it?
Right
First
there.
McNess.
The feed
First
company,
Maness, right here. It's written right there.
First McNess. It's a feed company.
we can't
Okay,
see that.
could we set up anything
can't
with them to
read it
park
from
those
here.
trucks into there, so those guys aren't on the street, so make a truck parking in there, maybe do,
Oh,
talk.
this will be full of semis too.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I mean, pull them up there further so they can get up to that
I
fence,
doubt First McNess will, cause they have enough time getting their own semis in and out.
is that right?
To go into their own building where it's labeled
What-
First McNess, that's a drive-through semi. They have a heck of a time just getting their own trucks in and out of there.
Steve, what does Gearing say when you complain? I mean, they're,
They send an officer over and talk to them and that's about it.
Another option that I did.
They say it's a distributor,
We could move this and
distributor where they're at, but okay, that's just kind of the way it is.
go ahead, Jay, what?
we could move this antique road grader. We could put parking out here too.
Yeah.
Do
We
that.
could take some of our green space and make it parking if we had to.
Hey, do that over here. Good job.
It's pretty tough over there.
No,
Our city
it's
wells
survey.
around here, or not city well, but our city, where the manhole is at for our sprinkler systems and stuff. These trees here, there's a long story about those trees, so they're on the side of the road, they planted them out there, man, I'd like you to.
I think as big as that parking lot is, that can be reconfigured to double park some vehicles back, front to front, you know.
So I'm urging us to, move forward by saying that when we get to this item on the regular agenda, which you said it's on there, right?
Yeah.
Right, then that we would at least approve, hopefully, that at that time, to go ahead and buy the tank and whatever
Lease the
accessories go
equipment.
with that. And then, that we would agree that you guys would focus on a location over there and maybe between Steve and Jay and Russ, we can figure out over there which we think is the best. And
I'd like to
then
get
come
Kurt
back to
involved in
us
that too.
Yeah, Kurt.
with a final, yeah, and Kurt, come back to us with a final, this is the one we're recommending, and I think we'd be good with that, probably.
Kurt will be here today, Lisa.
Lisa, can you zoom out one more time?
Sure.
Where's the is this the property line right here?
Pretty much where the,
Yeah,
post
pretty much
is.
right there, yeah.
Why can't we put the fuel in here?
Well, you gotta back up, we looked at that, Charlie, but if we bring those vehicles in, there's a gate right there and you can't get through. We'd either have to make a big turnaround, I don't know how we'd do that, or else back those buses back out onto the street, and they don't wanna back up, we don't wanna have anybody back up, we don't have to. Want everybody to go straight ahead.
Okay.
This is visitor parking.
We spent quite a bit of time looking on that.
Okay.
We could use this for parking for staff. Cause they could either go in, they could go right through this sidewalk, or they could go through this gate and then back over here, there's a door to go in there.
Okay. We want everybody moving straight ahead.
Okay, I think we're all in agreement that we're gonna
Okay.
move forward with this, when it
Yep.
comes to that on the agenda. Okay?
Thanks, Jay.
I'm done.
Good job.
Yeah, good job. Lot of work.
Lot of work.
It's gonna save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Better.
I agree too. If we buy by the truckload, that's a good deal for us.
I mean, $70,000 a year,
Yeah.
just, or $70,000 a year approximately, savings on fuel.
60 to 70, I think is what we're looking at.
But then if we can get full semis to drop diesel for roads also, there's
It's
some
gonna
more
help Steve,
savings
if
there.
Steve can pick up 4,000 gallons, it's
Yeah.
gonna help him, because he'll
That's
have a
probably
big one.
another
Where we're gonna really save
40,000.
is at the end of the year, like right now, we're saving money on fuel because it's so high. If we get to the end of the year and we got 10 or 20,000 gallons left over that we haven't used, they're happy to take it back, cause they can sell it for a higher market than what we got right now. If we've got tanks, we can hold that fuel, otherwise we gotta turn it back, and they're happy to do it. But on the other hand, when this thing turns around the other way, and that fuel, the fuel is cheaper than what it is, then we gotta eat it, they're not gonna, so we've gotta have storage for it.
Okay, we've got, a little over 30 minutes left before our regular meeting. Is there anybody else that needs to present or do anything to the board?
If you don't mind. I'm sorry. Mine's gonna be quick.
Nothing you do is quick, Tim. Trust me, and that's okay.
Ouch.
You are thorough, buddy. Southern. Never sacrifice accuracy for speed. There you go.
Although Auburn got butts kicked this weekend, it was terrible. And they paid $2 million to do that, so. That was fun.
Give that microphone
I know.
we can't hear.
Well, good. So back during budget time, we have to estimate what we're gonna get back from the Emergency Management Performance Grant, from NEMA. And we estimated that we were gonna get back 54,000. And I got an email on Friday that, the state did not receive as much, grant money from the feds as they usually do. And so they prorated everything down. And long story short, we are receiving $13,000 less than we estimated that we were gonna get. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. I'm gonna work on how to figure out how to cover that shortfall.
How did you appropriate the 54,000 on
So what they do is the grant is supposed to pay up to 50% of salary and benefits. That's all it pays for, is just up to 50%. And they always say that up to 50%. It's not been 50% for a while. Last year we got 44% on salary and benefits. So the increase in requests was only $113 more than last year's. And so I was expecting to get a little bit more, because they usually do get increases every year to keep up with inflation. And this year they did not. They actually received less, at the state level. That grant is not, there's not a set amount that's required to be passed down to local, governments. But they try to pass down as much as they can. They also had to fund state positions with that grant. So they passed down 62% of it this year. I'm not sure what the pass through was for previous years, but it was only 62% this year. And so we're getting 13,267 less than what we expected to get, which is about 35.6% of salary and benefits instead of the 50. So I'm gonna work on figuring out how much that's gonna be breaking down between our county, Banner County, and all the cities and villages. Roughly guessing, knowing that, city of Scotts Bluff pays 40%, out of that, breakdown. That's gonna be about 5,300 more for city of Scotts Bluff. Gearing and Scotts Bluff County both pay around 25%. And so it's gonna be about another $3,300 for the county and for city of Gearing. And then the other the cities and villages, cover that last 10%, and that's gonna be about $1,300, so.
So if everything else fails, we would have to increase your budget by $3,300. Is that what you're telling me?
If all else fails, no, well, if all else fails,
It'd be 13,000.
the 13,000.
13,000.
If all the other cities and villages can increase, to cover their portion of
To
it,
cover their portion.
then the county is
That's what
gonna-
I'm saying. We're down
Right.
three grand.
right.
Okay. I don't know if that's gonna be a
We-
earth-shattering
We
change.
budgeted $21,400 for the county's portion, so that'd be another 3,000 for that.
Okay.
Right, so we're looking at 25 instead of 22-ish.
Tim, you said not all of, the state positions, or you said the state positions are also funded by this money that got cut. Did they cut any state positions?
No, as far as I know, they haven't cut any positions. They have some positions that are still not filled.
Okay.
And at the state, I think they employ around 40 people at NEMA. This is not covering all 40 of those employees. They cover certain, they get different grants and they cover different salaries with different grants. And, it would be nice if the legislature would pay 100% for NEMA and not count on grants. And then they could pass more on down to us. But it is not, it wasn't, they didn't pick Tim Newman and say, we're gonna cut your budget. They cut everybody's budget. I got an email or a text from Ron Leal this morning that said, they're cutting our budget by 15,000. Did they cut you? Yes, they did. We're not immune and we're not alone, so.
Where are those other NEMA employees located? Are they across the state, or are they concentrated in Lincoln?
They're all in Lincoln, all at the main office.
So you're just giving us a heads up. It sounds to me that it may not be a crisis situation for us.
No.
Might be a
I hope
headache, but
not,
not a crisis.
And I'm going to see what I can do to adjust budget. I talked to Lisa.
Sure.
Like I said, I got this email on Friday, and this was the first chance I got to talk to Lisa about it this afternoon. And she said, hey, if you wanna bring it up. So.
Yeah.
We had a call with, we had a NACO call on Friday, and there was, some talk about this. Some of the other commissioners on the NACO board had already heard about it, so, I was kinda prepared to hear about this, but I guess I'm trying to remember who was on the call, if it was the call with the governor or the call with the board, but I think it might have been during the call with the governor that this came up. I think Cummings County mentioned it to the governor. And then he went on a tangent about, cutting costs anyway, all this kind of stuff. He's very much against some really important things in my mind. But it didn't seem like something he was interested in listening to, so, yeah. So I don't know that there's much else for us to do besides pick it up at this point.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to your attention and,
Sure.
and, that way you're not blindsided later on.
If we need to do something. Yeah.
Right, and it's, right now, it doesn't make much of a difference because we're in the first part of the budget year. When we get down toward the last part of the budget year, that's where that cut
Could
is
come
gonna
up.
really show up.
Right.
So,
All right,
anyway,
appreciate it.
thank you.
All right, so I wanna just remind everybody that it's 4:05. We got about 20 minutes left here. I know, Robert, you had your hand up and was planning on coming up. If you wanna do that, you can be next, and then whoever else is here to speak,
Sounds good. Good evening.
Hello.
We wanted to give you an update on the reappraisal for the commercial properties and lot study. So we talked with the state, and they're gonna be very flexible with us on timing. So we went back and contacted Central Plains Valuation, as well as Brian Hill and Josh Garris, and all of them are gonna be providing So we'll have a total of 4 bids.
Okay, good.
So they weren't available until, end of 2024, but I think that the state's gonna allow us to be, significantly late on those reappraisals. So, that's good news.
We're not necessarily stuck with
Just one bid.
just one bid.
That's right.
That's
That's
a lot
right.
better.
that's good.
It's a good thing.
And this is Ruth's last week, right?
I think she's already gone
She's
from
done?
what we hear.
Okay.
So, no word on any replacement. We downloaded to the treasurer's office. I think it went good. Statements are printed,
Yay.
getting ready to be mailed.
It's a big hurdle for them.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah.
work to get that balance.
Then those get sent out like right towards the end of the year, is that right?
Heather, when do they go?
Any minute.
Your statements, when do they go?
They will be out by the 1st of December.
By the 1st, okay.
And they'll be big, 8x14,
Yeah.
you said?
Legal size,
Mhm.
yeah,
They're all ready. They will go to the printer next Monday.
okay.
So that went well. In that process, we've identified some changes that we need to make. So we'll be working on that. We've got staff out doing building permits and
Field reviews.
field reviews.
You kinda need, end of the year assessments, as to how far along projects are and things like that, when you talk about building permits and things?
Every
Or is
day
that-
is a new adventure.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
We have about 620 of them that are open,
Yeah.
and some of them date back to 2012.
22.
Oh,
2000, well, yeah,
It's
some
real
of them
old.
are really old.
Yeah, really
But
old.
the ones that are current are dating back to summer 2022.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're just trying to regroup and trying to get as much done as we can.
How are you doing on staff?
Good.
Good update. So we did have a new employee start a week ago, Michelle Miller. Then we had one position left open, and we're making a offer today to a young lady. So we will be
Good.
fully staffed.
good.
And you're going to test when, Robert?
I haven't decided yet, so. Every time I get home, I'm just exhausted, so.
Yeah, I understand.
It is I think he thought he was gonna be able to do some studying and things during the day. That's not,
It's impossible.
it's not gonna happen. So, he's doing it all on his own time. So, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
Anything else?
I did want
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to mention, going back to the appraisals, that, we talked with the Panhandle assessors, we meet with them once a month. And pretty much across the board, all the Panhandle use standard to do their commercial reviews. There was one county that they do their own, that was,
Box Butte.
Box Butte. But generally, everybody's using the standard, so.
To be honest, I'm not sure that we're at the point where we would be able to do our own, but maybe eventually.
Someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday, yeah.
I happened to speak with another county assessor from, I wanna say Perkins County over the weekend. And it was just a general discussion, didn't get into anything specific, but I do know her personally and, so might be able to bounce a couple of those kinds of questions off of her and what she does.
Yeah, we've really been reaching out and they have been very gracious and
So,
helpful.
these other counties that you're talking to that use standard, do they have any issues with them? Or was it just Scotts
Not
Bluff
really.
County?
Didn't
No.
seem to.
They
Just
got
our
all-
guys.
Yeah. So
So we thought we'd give you some options
Yeah,
so we'll have 4 bids, yeah.
that you can choose.
okay.
A lot better than what we had last month.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, very good. Keep up the good work,
Yeah,
guys.
keep-
Thanks
Yeah,
for
so
all your hard
we're doing a
work.
lot of training, all
Lots
the
of
new
training.
employees, everybody's still pitching in and helping do that.
Good.
New field reviews, and actually the group did 2 hours in the field last week, I think, and did 12.
Did 12 within
Field
2
reviews.
hours. So they're really,
They're picking it up.
Good,
They're picking it up pretty quick,
very good.
yeah.
Good.
And that's really it. Any questions for us?
Well, just one
Yes.
comment. As
Trying to
an
think of how
emergency
you-
management training,
we can-
here a few weeks
yes.
ago, and I had a chance to visit with the assessor from Cheyenne County, and she was super impressed with you, Robert.
Oh,
So I thought that was nice to hear.
I ask a lot of questions.
Yes,
I
he
think I
does.
annoy them sometimes, but, It's like today, I was talking to Rose
Yeah.
Nelson from Bridgeport. So, they're very helpful, that's nice of you to say that.
The gal from Cheyenne County, I think, is also new, so.
Yeah, she is.
Good deal.
We're in the same boat.
Yes, we are.
Keep up the good work, guys,
And
appreciate
I
it.
would like to
Is it on
extend
like
a invitation to come meet the team from all of you. I think that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
I wanna get in on it.
Yeah, we'll do that, we'll do that.
Okay,
Thanks.
alright.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, is there anybody else?
I got something to mention, I think Sheriff
Yeah,
wants
go,
to
you
too.
go ahead.
Okay, well, we can start working. I just wanted to tell you, we're doing open enrollment meetings and we saw none of you.
I know.
And I gotta have your paperwork in this week. Drop dead date is Monday. So, basically, I think most of you, you're on the health plan. So I'll need you to re-enroll in health and dental if you want to continue with the county.
Yes.
And we need you to redo your health savings, you on doing your health savings. Are any of the rest of you on the county health plan or not?
I think I've got vision and dentist, so I have to do it too.
You have to do it, everybody needs to fill out the forms, even if you decline.
Yeah.
Can we still be on the dental and the eye?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
but you
Yeah,
can
that's,
still be on the dental.
I'd
The
like
eye,
to be on that.
vision coverage does not change, okay? Nothing, if you're
Yeah,
on it, and
that's
you
all I
wanna
have.
stay on it, you're good, okay? If you want to be on vision, we can sign you up. Okay, that would be fine, but otherwise I need you to either re-enroll in health and re-enroll in dental and re-enroll in the health savings contribution or decline. Are we,
Can I still add to my health savings?
not unless you are on my high deductible health plan. Okay. And we
So-
did roll out a new copay plan, if you want me to tell you about it, but yeah, you'll go on that soon.
so basically, every employee has to attend, whether you're on the plan or not. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we kinda did a caveat, if you aren't on our insurance and have no interest in coming onto our insurance, we just need you to fill out the paperwork saying decline.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's kinda where you're at too.
Yeah,
We're fine.
I've got the two things going, but,
The vision is fine, I just need you to re-enroll in dental.
okay.
And do the other, and I can get this to you guys, hopefully if you, I'll send you, give you the papers, so you can start doing the top part,
Okay, we can do that,
screw it, okay?
okay.
Is there
I
gonna
didn't
be any
realize that we had to be
between
part of the whole thing.
Yes,
Okay.
even if you decline, but.
Thank you.
Anyway, Sheriff wanted to present something to you, do you wanna try to get him?
I'm not getting into it.
Birthday.
If you, if I can get it, I can put it up there.
Well, that's,
Hey, Billy, did you send something out, Mark?
Here you go.
Friday? No, I don't know what, hey, did you send anything out on this,
Give
rezoning?
it to Blake.
I sent an email on Friday morning.
I haven't seen anything on it, I don't know where to look. What did you send it on?
No, it's not on the internet.
I got them all in the commissioner
It's on your,
No, it's all our file.
You got it, right? When I sent it out Friday?
I just thought you guys had
Did you get it?
downloaded to your machine.
I didn't, but I haven't been getting an email since 3 weeks.
Okay, it was not emailed in your packet, a paper copy was in your packet.
Oh, yeah. The paper copy, yeah.
Yes.
But, not the email, I didn't.
Oh, I tried.
Yeah.
I carboned you.
And you may have,
Who was
but,
out in all this?
Well, I was gone, remember, we were talking and,
yeah, but I've got some stuff in
no,
here
the
for you.
paper copies have been in everybody's packet since Friday.
Yeah, we got that.
Wait a minute, John.
I'll have to check with you guys, you know, they read in their emails.
Right.
Not everything's the same as what it was.
Some of it,
Put it to the commissioners, usually it sends it to everyone, and Kenny, did you get it?
Definitely can get into here.
Yeah, that's the same exactly what I sent.
so it came across in Kyna's name.
Oh, so it got forwarded, alright. I'll check with you guys next time we get it.
I always just look over your stuff, I mean, if I have questions, I always call you.
Right. There ain't much of this one, so Fred Charles will deal out there.
Was that what you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's changes it.
So,
I'm sure you have
Bill,
other
my
control.
deal, all I can see it, you copied me, and so you probably blind copied them too. Well, look at this.
But I like the hard
It says two and
copy.
nobody.
I checked it out today.
I was wondering if you guys CC'd them or something. That's what I assumed when I saw it.
I'm
And
hoping that
I
we can
forwarded
take
this to Kaina and said I
4 or
didn't do
5
anything
minute
with
break
this because I
before
was in my meeting and I had to
Lisa?
do not. That's why I.
If we get everybody to, okay, who else? Sheriff, did you have something?
But I got this board here.
If you can get, okay. Okay, yeah, I can never work.
Can you look up my kids' socials?
We might be able to get Charlotte to do it, okay?
Okay.
If I can plug it into there, we can try, Sheriff.
Let's see if it'll work.
Now. This one in.
Aha. All right.
Show and tell.
Awesome. Okay. Gentlemen, I was asked by Mr. Meyer more than once to present this to you, so just waiting for the appropriate time. So today I present the Officer of the Year from the Nebraska Sheriff's Association, Deputy Anthony Osborne. So first I'm gonna tell you the story and then I'm gonna show you the body cam video. On August 4th of 2022, Deputy Anthony Osborne was on duty when he heard the comm center broadcast, "Someone's being shot at Main Street Market." I'm trying to get further. He was just a few blocks away. Responded as quickly as he could and arrived in less than 1 minute. As soon as he arrived, he saw a male with his hands over his head. And keep in mind, he's pulling into the lot. That's all he knows. That's all they've told him. Shooting happening at Main Street Market. And there was a handgun laying nearby on the ground. Witnesses confirmed the man had been shot and the man with his hands up was the shooter. Deputy Osborne immediately engaged that man after several verbal orders to get on the ground. He complied, so he immediately handcuffed him. He handcuffed him, and he knew where the gun was. And he was the only officer then. After handcuffing the male, leaving him on the ground, he ran to the male who was shot. He observed the man's wound in the area to be his left upper stomach near his chest. A bystander was assisting by holding his own shirt over the wound. Deputy told him to keep applying pressure. Deputy Osborne notified the comm center of the location of the wound and ran to his vehicle for his medical bag. At this time, other officers started arriving on the scene. Deputy Osborne notified them of the location of the shooter, who was in handcuffs, the handgun, and the injured party. Deputy Osborne moved to the injured man and applied a chest seal to the entry wound on his chest. With assistance from another officer, they located an exit wound on the man's back, and Deputy Osborne placed another seal on that wound. Emergency medical arrived after both seals were applied and transported the victim to the hospital. Deputy Osborne remained at the scene to assist with the investigation. We later learned that Deputy Osborne properly placed both seals in the emergency room, did not need to adjust them. The victim was taken to surgery and survived. The perpetrator of the shooting was later sentenced to 55 to 80 years in prison. The victim has had several surgeries and continues his recovery. This has totally changed his life. The shooting happened at a very busy location. We later learned that citizens and employees inside the store heard the gunfire, were very frightened that an active shooter was in the area. Deputy Osborne arrived in less than a minute, quickly took the suspect into custody. He then turned his attention to the victim while notifying responding officers and EMS of the situation. He then provided first aid in the form of chest seals to the front and back of the victim, all before medical arrived. His actions certainly contributed to the victim's survival. He's worked for our agency since April of 2018. Previously worked for the Kimball County Sheriff's Office. He's also a U.S. Army Iraq War veteran. So now I'm going to show you his body cam video.
Gray shirt, red shorts.
9019 Central, I'm 1097. You got to repeat your description. Where's it at? What's going on? Hey, is someone shot? Is it you? Who's? Get on the fucking ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! I see it. Hey, keep him there. Don't fucking move. Stay there. Hey, where are you shot?
Right here, right here, right here, right here. I just took my shirt off to cover it.
19 Central, we have a male gunshot wound to the stomach. Male gunshot wound to the stomach.
Come on, Alex. What the fuck, bud? 738.
You're good, man. You're good. Just keep pressure on it for me, would you?
I got it. I got it.
Just keep pressure. Don't push too hard.
I know it.
Right here. 1015. There's suspect. There's gun. We got gunshot wound here to the stomach.
Report of a male being shot.
He's holding pressure on it. Let me get chest. Let me get my med pad.
Fuck. It's a chest wound. Don't try to get. With the chest wound, he's got a chest wound. I just know this. No.
All right. Hey, release that. Hey. Hold on a second.
Just let me hold it. Yeah. Just let me hold it. Let them get here. Dude, hold on. I know it hurts. You got bullet in you. That's
all right,
fine.
Here, release it.
Keep an eye on it.
Hey,
Ready?
open
Go.
the shirt. Open the shirt. Go.
Jesus fucking. Hang on. Relax. How you feeling?
Log down. Chest seal. Chest seal put on at 1716. Chest seal put on at 1716.
Stay with me, man. You're good. How do you feel right now? Huh?
I know that guy. He's not gonna shoot me.
Hey, you're good, man. You're good. Stay with us, all right? Hey, let me see. We got relax.
I don't understand.
We have an exit.
Did it go through?
Yeah, we have an exit.
It went through, but I'm dusted.
I'm gonna put one on the back. You gotta roll him farther. We're gonna roll you a little bit, man. I know it sucks.
Relax.
I know it sucks.
It hurts, doesn't it? Just keep breathing, okay? I'm gonna lay you back down, okay?
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Hey, I'm gonna take your shirt off, okay?
Keep him just like that.
They said that guy shot him, and I was like,
Gunshot wound went through and through. The second chest seal put on at 1716. 1716.
you okay? You got your blood stopped, okay? 19. You got an ID on you?
707.
He was recognizing Anthony for his.
Anyhow, you've seen what happened. You've seen how fast it happened. So, obviously, we're very proud of what Anthony did. We put him in for this award, and the Nebraska Sheriff's Association thought the same thing. So,
Anthony?
that'd be all.
Thank you for making the job.
It's great.
We figured out to do this. Okay, we appreciate what you did, Anthony, we still do, the county appreciates it, the victim certainly appreciates it.
Yeah.
So David, this is good. Well, really good, just he was in the right place at the right time, but he also did everything exceptionally well.
The impressive part with this is that this is what the whole state This isn't just the panhandle.
No, it's whole state.
We took out Omaha, we took out Lincoln, we took out everything. And there he is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We're lucky. We're very lucky to have you. Keep up the good work. Okay.
Next time, bring Frodo.
We're gonna take about a 5-minute break before we go into our regular session.
We had a work session, and it just finished, and I think they're gonna take a couple minutes.
Would you pass that back? Or just hand. Okay, before we start, you have the floor, sir.
So since we've gotten Frodo in October, I think I went down to training October 4th of 2021. We have had, I have canine drug deployments and canine patrol deployments. So drug deployments are sniffing vehicles, most of this, 99.99% what we do out there. We've had 57 drug sniffs. The total, what we've taken off the road is for methamphetamine, 2 pounds, 8.5 ounces. 2 grams of heroin, 2 grams of cocaine, things we don't see a ton around here. Meth is more prominent. Fentanyl pills, 410, 4 liquid ounces of LSD. So if we get it on a home, that's a lot. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dosages of LSD. And then 3 pounds of marijuana, 2 ounces of mushrooms, and 5 pounds of foos here. And 5 guns. So those guns were involved with either drugs or people that were typically felons that weren't allowed to have them. So I mean, there's been drugs or guns and vehicles that we find with people that are legally allowed to have them, so we don't count those as stats. Canine patrol deployments. We've had 38 total deployments for patrol. He has had 0 apprehensions by canine because everyone's scared of dogs. That's why they're such a good de-escalation tool. He's had 23 people give up. So after announcements were given, he gave up, or those suspects gave up after the dog found. A couple cool ones. The most memorable were the active shooter situation in Chapel. I don't know how many months ago that was.
Last May, maybe, last May.
We had
Walking around shouting State College, firing rifles.
Yeah, and then nightfall happened. Shortly before that, we actually were able to get some, with our canine budget, we were able to get some thermal night vision binoculars. We were actually able to see that suspect walk to us from a mile away. It was myself, Dodge, Billy Houghton, and Tyler Ware from Scotts Bluff PD. We were all down there. And I had my dog out. The suspect got about 50, 60 feet from us. We then heard would have been a couple officers lit up the field. It was either, I think it was Dodge and Houghton lit up the field. The guy got up with the AR, took off running away from us. We started running after him. I gave 2 announcements to stop or I'll send the dog. He sees them, starts barking. That guy stopped, faced away from us, put his hands out, dropped the gun, dropped his shirt that he had in his hand, turned around and gave up.
Really? That's amazing.
So, it's pretty, yeah, it is pretty amazing what de-escalation they can do. If you have someone that has a gun that's not afraid to fire towards officers on a college campus, and then you bring a dog into it, cancels it out. So we had 23 people give up to him. We've done 4 suspect tracks. One of them was 2.9 miles. It was successful the whole way, and then we got about a mile from the suspect's house. We could see it, and it was in Morrow County. I was about an hour away. So it took me an hour to respond there. By the time they told me that he dropped the ball. By the time they told me that that was his house, I'm like, he's already home, because he gave me an hour delay. And so we picked up the track, responded to the suspect's house, and they surrounded the house, went in there, and the suspect was in the attic. So it was 2.9-mile track, it was 14 degrees out, so very cold.
That's amazing.
They can do some pretty cool stuff.
That's
And
amazing.
5 evidence searches, one of them found a gun in a ditch that was thrown out. I think
After, how many officers searched that ditch?
there was 4 officers over there.
We knew this was just out near the soccer field, the Scotts Bluff.
That's amazing. Well, now that I'm able to speak, I had a little trouble down there, but, on behalf of Scotts Bluff County, can't tell you how proud we are of you.
Very good.
I still can't get it out.
Oh, we appreciate it, so.
Both of you, both
Yeah.
of you.
They're a pretty amazing tool. For the dog stuff, you gotta give him all the credit, cause without all this stuff, we would not have got any of this if it wasn't the dogs.
That's amazing,
Or it would have ended a lot different.
it's amazing. Treat him well. I'd come down there and pet him, but I don't think he'd let me. He's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you again, and congratulations again. All right. Okay, folks, we are late and I don't care. So I want to call the meeting to order, please. Again, for public information, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted on the east wall of the Commissioners' room. Roll call, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Knapper,
Yes.
Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Okay, could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance again, please? Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
I don't have anything.
Board?
I'd move approval of the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close, please. Remind everybody that the board does reserve the right to enter into a closed session. Anytime we deem it necessary, we do have one at the end of the agenda here. We'll move into the consent agenda. Anybody like anything removed from the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
You have 5 yeses?
Thank you. Moving into building and zoning. This is a public hearing on the Deb and Jim Sanders zoning change, mobile home to rural residential. Bill?
So, this is located out on the Sunflower Road, half a mile north of Highway 26, and it's the now defunct Sunflower Mobile Home Park. So they had, it was 12 and a half acres total, that was part of a mobile home park. Well, the septic facility, which was a lagoon at the time, failed, they weren't able to replace it due to the cost factor. So they ripped out all the units, so the owner of the property now wants to just go in and replat that into a 2-lot subdivision, so we need to change that zoning from the mobile home over to rural residential.
We don't have any road maintenance on that property.
Not at all, it's a private street.
And so the old septic system is gone and they'll install new septic as it.
Yeah, they ripped out everything, even all those electrical services they put in there, everything's gone.
Good.
So, there was actually a 22-lot subdivision, it was Meadow Heights, and, they're the size of city lots, like 70 by 150, so we wanna get rid of those and replat that, cause they're non-compliant now, they're too small. So it's in the best interest of the county to replat this into larger lots.
And now we're in compliance, or they'll be in compliance.
Exactly, so the first step is to change the zoning into the residential, and now they can replat it after the zoning's been changed.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of the zoning change? Anybody to speak in favor of the zoning change, please? Is there anybody to speak against the zoning change? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Entertain a motion for either approval or denial.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Record your votes.
again, Charlie? Russ?
What?
Vote again.
I need you to hit your button again, please.
Okay.
Russ?
Try that one.
Okay to close?
Close, please.
And
Okay,
you have 5 yeses?
very good, thank you. Thank you, Bill, he's gone already, never mind.
Serious?
All right, need a motion to move into Board of Equalization, please.
I would move into Board of Equalization.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close, please.
You have 5 yeses?
Okay, Heather,
We got text list corrections?
tax list corrections.
Please.
Is there a motion to approve the tax list corrections as presented?
I will move to accept the tax list corrections.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close. Okay,
5
motion to.
yeses?
Thank you. Motion to come out of Board of Equalization.
I move that we come out of the Board of Equalization.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close. Under general agenda items, discuss, consider awarding the bid for Scotts Bluff County gas tank distribution system with Orthman Energy. Jay?
Orthman Energy was the only company that bid on this, the gas tank, 10,000 gallon gas tank with a distribution system, lease for 6 months to pay it off in the 7th month. Their bid was for $48,556 for the tank and $32,932 for the lease at a price of $5,705.80, I think, yeah. And I did have Dave had looked through the contract and he doesn't see anything wrong with it. There was, if you looked at the contract, there was some handwritten changes there. It was miswritten, so he sent it out. He notarized everything. Dave approved it, so asking for your approval.
Okay, for informational purposes, we did have an executive, or not executive, a work session at 3 o'clock today. Jay presented all of the particulars about this. No vote was taken on it, but I think everybody's pretty well aware of what the intention is. And with that, I would entertain a motion for approval of the bid as submitted.
Make a motion that we approve the bid as submitted.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any other discussion? Record your votes. And thank you, Jay, for all your hard
Do we
work
need to
on
do
that.
anything with the contract for the lease or?
Okay to close?
That should be included with that motion.
Thank you.
You have 5 yeses and Jay?
Thank you.
I need him to sign this part. Do you want me to witness the viewer?
If I'm not, it'll show. No, I haven't signed that one yet. I'll give you that one too.
Okay, I think I just emailed the app to you.
Okay. Next item, discuss, consider action regarding UNL extension and Scotts Bluff County interlocal agreement. Hi, Rob.
Hi, how are you guys?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good.
Well, first off, we'd like to continually thank you for your support of Nebraska Extension and all the work that we do with your funds to continually do our educational opportunities here. Jackie Guzman shared with you an interlocal agreement. This is nothing new. There's been an interlocal agreement between the university and the counties for a number of years. Basically, the interlocal agreement is just an explanation of kind of the partnership between who furnishes what and kind of how we work and operate as Extension. I believe that was shared with you along with an addendum. The addendum is the second part of this. We have a 4-H assistant that the county funds that salary through the budget, and that actually works through the university, so the county funds go to the university actually pays the individual. That puts them basically as a faculty member of the university, and so that's kind of what these two pieces are. You might have seen the former interlocal agreement that was shared as well. That interlocal agreement might look a little different. We had some changes over the last few years. We used to have districts, and we worked in districts. Now we have split those districts up a little bit and work in zones. And so the zone that I work with, it used to be the Panhandle District. It actually entailed the Panhandle and part of the Sandhills. Now the zone just entails the Panhandle itself, the 11 counties. And so that's basically what the changes were in the wording, was around that particular piece. Everything else pretty much remained the same in that local agreement with us and you. Not a lot of other changes, but I can answer some questions if you've seen some things. I believe it was shared with your county attorney as well. And so I'd be happy to visit and answer any questions along those lines.
There weren't any major changes in it at all.
No.
That's
No.
that's the bottom line here,
Yeah,
Rob.
bottom line, yeah, like I said, the only big change was just changing from districts to zones.
Right, right.
And then, and instead of a district director overseeing it, it's an engagement zone coordinator, which is my position, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or concerns? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the interlocal agreement with the extension Zone 1 educator.
I move that we approve the amendment to the interlocal agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
You have 5 yeses?
Yes. Rob, thank you.
What we will do, we will actually share it as a DocuSign and let you do it via DocuSign if that works, or you can sign that.
I'm just gonna let him sign with his pen and I'll scan it to you if you're
Okay, sounds good, thank
Okay.
you. I am gonna
She-
share some cards and some pins with you gentlemen as well, but we appreciate all the support.
Thank you.
Let's just start handing those down.
All right,
Thank you.
Yes. That's the kind of guy I am. Oh, goodness. Okay, next item is to consider appointment of Albert, help me with the last name.
Bastinas.
Excuse me?
Bastinza.
Bastinza, okay, for the Board of Commissioners of the Scotts Bluff County Housing Authority.
And all I have is the email that she sent. I didn't get a
Don't they usually bring them in and introduce us? Or?
reply. No, I've never
Not
had them
always.
bring them in person.
I've not seen one. They didn't bring you in
Yeah.
when they came.
They just voted, they just
Nancy
approved
Bentley and I
you.
came in.
Yeah,
Did you really? I don't remember that.
thank you.
That would have been a memorable evening.
Would
if
have
that
been,
happened.
I'm sure it was.
Okay, everybody has received the information on that, and, there was some back and forth on that for a while, a little bit of confusion as to what the procedure was. I think we've got it straightened out. Right, Kelly?
I hope so.
Yes.
I'm assuming Albert's not here.
No, we just had an
Okay.
email from Anita that they wanted this to, wanted you guys to know that their board recommended him.
They did all the vetting on it, and that's their recommendation to us.
And I
And
think they may
I've
have had
never met
2
him.
applicants. I can't, wasn't
Okay.
there a last minute one? Ken?
What's
She-
that?
She'd sent his,
Yeah.
but then there was a last minute one that she
And
added.
she was still recommending
And you
this one.
still asked her for them to make their recommendation.
Yes.
That's what we got, so.
So Russ, you weren't there when they took the action to recommend him,
I missed the last minute.
okay? Does anyone know him?
I don't.
I know nothing of him other than what the information they provided.
Coming to us.
Yeah,
He apparently worked at Scottsville Public Schools,
Looks like, yeah.
right.
so,
I think their normal procedure, correct me if I'm wrong, Russ, is they do the background checks and make sure that they're
supposed to.
suitable to do what they wanna do, yeah. And we've somewhat removed ourselves from that because they aren't an arm of the county. They have really nothing to do with the
I don't know
county.
why we sit on that board.
But we do have a representative, and at some particular point, we may wanna discuss just exactly what our involvement with that group is. But as it is right now, when the group first started, they needed a sponsor. Then they went to Terrytown said no, Scotts Bluff County said yes, that's how we got attached to them, so.
Well, yeah, so I would be interested in how these names come to them, and is it simply a name that is recommended by, their, executive person,
Should be in their.
generally
Nor-
speaking?
Normally they advertise, isn't
I
that
was saying,
correct, Kelly?
it's my understanding they advertise in the newspaper.
Right.
Well,
They usually brought us the names and we sort of, you and I discussed different topics.
Vetted and then brought one to us.
Well, we actually picked, they brought us two the last time, we picked,
Is that right?
what's her first name?
Tammy
Tammy
Hinkle.
Yeah, they
Oh,
brought
yeah.
us two, so we picked up and we wanted one, but this time they only brought one, so I guess we don't have any say, so it's fine.
Tammy is the president of the organization right now?
She was last time.
but it looks like they ran.
And again, I question what our role is in all of this.
Bylaws, it's in their bylaws, I know we have read.
When the bylaws were originally written, we had to sponsor the Scotts Bluff County Housing Authority.
They just had those redone like 4 years ago.
And
I
they
was
kept
still
it,
on
and they
board
kept
then.
us on there?
Yeah, we're still on there.
We may wanna
I'd
look
like
at
to
that.
look at those
Yeah,
again. just-
we may wanna research all of that, cause we really have nothing to do with it. There's no
don't.
county funds. They used to have pickups or
We don't
vehicles that said Scotts Bluff County on it. We removed all of
We
that.
don't even exempt anything.
We don't, no, we have really nothing to do with the
I know,
organization.
that's what I don't.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that, so we may wanna look into that and even remove us any further from that.
But we were the sponsoring organization probably when they initially started.
When they initially started, that's correct. It was my understanding that they'd gone to Terrytown, cause that's where they were located. And Terrytown declined, and so they came to Scotts Bluff County, and Scotts Bluff County took them in. That was back in the sixties, late sixties, early seventies, I suppose.
And apparently the bylaws says that the county commissioners will have a representative on the board,
Right,
right?
and it's an ex officio, they don't have a vote.
Right.
So we really have nothing going on with that organization.
We don't have any interest in, we don't, you know, we don't have any, like with the airport, we actually
Yeah.
own the property.
There
We
wa-
don't own any property.
There was a point where Scotts Bluff County was more active with that organization. In the fact that, well, I don't know that we ever had a voting member, but they were representing themselves and rightfully so, as an arm of Scotts Bluff County, which is why we removed all of that.
Well, I guess, I agree with what has been said, and that's that I'd be interested in, what the original intent was, what it's been, and I guess what it is now,
Where it
and
is
where's
now.
it headed.
Sure.
And we, ought to probably know more about it than what we do, so it'd be good sometime to maybe have them here, maybe at the next work session or something that we do, and maybe we could, discuss exactly how that's supposed to work.
How they would like us to participate.
Right. All right.
Okay, so do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? And record your votes, please. Okay,
I'm
Mark?
trying. Okay, sorry.
Okay to close?
close, please.
And you have 5 yeses?
Alright, move on to old business, there is none. We'll open up for public comments. This time the board will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for something at a future meeting. We won't take any action on anything. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the board? You're still trying to recover from the magic show, so, I was there, I saw it, I witnessed it. What did? Yeah, I know that. That's exactly right. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to, board and staff reports. We'll start with the board. Russ, you have anything?
Well, yeah, we're, still waiting out on, County Road 5 on the new box culvert. They still haven't got the dewatering done to where they can actually do the, compaction, get the base finished. They've spent almost 30 days out there, Steve.
For what?
They have, they've spent 1/4 of their contract out there and, really gained a lot. So we're hoping that they'll get some dewatering in this week and, get that water table down to where they can get some compacted soils in there, compacted material in there and get a deck poured.
Yeah. Mike?
I attended a, Region 22 Emergency Management Training, G402, and there was at least 4 department heads that represented Scotts Bluff County there, so it was a very good training. I was glad to see them. We got to work a lot with, different officials from different counties, and I think it was really good training. And let's see, something else. Oh yeah, I attended a, meet and greet for Randy Meininger at the hospital last week, as part of his transition away from Valley Ambulance, to Regional West. That was well attended. And then I did a training for, Banner County Fire here last week.
Okay, and I see you're on the Scotts Bluff Morrow County Extension Board also. Did they have a meeting?
They had one I had to miss, that was at a training.
Okay. Okay. I have 2 or 3. Probably the biggest one is, the Region 1 right now is, still debating on working either outside or coming back. Long discussion about all of that. One of the bigger things is the insurance company dropped them after their big hailstorm, so they're out looking for insurance to cover that huge building out there, which I think is kind of indicative of all over the county or everywhere. If you had damage, your rates are either gonna go up or they're gonna drop you, one of the two. But we had some lengthy discussions with that. I did pass on our wishes, as a board, to have those individuals work from the office and not from home. The governor put out a memorandum 2 weeks ago that all state employees would come back to work. So I don't know where that's gonna go. We're still debating that. We have a couple commissioners are pretty hot on that out there, or pretty board members, I mean, that are really working on that one. So that was probably the more interesting meeting and the one that affects us mostly. And, what else do I have? Oh, we have a employees appreciation coming up.
December 6th.
December 6th.
19th, I'm sorry, right? Heather, what's December 6th?
December 6th, so we need to get signed up for that at the Civic Center, if you're planning on going to that.
I only have answers from 2 of you. Are you going?
Where's it gonna be at?
Civic Center.
Civic Center.
Are you going? Mark?
I believe so.
Charlie? Are you gonna go?
I will be there.
Okay.
Please RSVP.
Okay. I'll have an answer to you tomorrow, Heather.
Okay, Mark?
I just had, one question that I don't think we have anything to do with, but I've been asked, by a few people about, the airport and the farm out at the airport. I'm assuming that's all handled by the airport board. We have nothing to
They
do
do
with
with
that.
the executive board, and in fact, we talked about it at the board meeting last Wednesday.
Okay.
I listened in, I guess. They have doing a contract, they have someone to lease it.
Okay.
So they have a new lease they put together, they've changed some things in the lease. But like, yeah, that's all their
baby, right?
all their baby.
That's what I thought, and that's the way I answered the question, and then I started questioning whether I gave them the right information, but.
You did.
Okay, very good. Other than that, I don't have any other items.
Okay, Charlie?
Tourism's gonna have a retreat in December. Typically do that over dinner. We make it like a 4, 5, 6 hour deal. We just kinda, there's no real agenda, but we kind of play some games, we do some brainstorming, we do some stuff like that. It'd be something that we'd probably invite, community members to, other stakeholders, not just board members. Commissioners would definitely be welcome. If you would like to join us there, just let me know, and I'll have Brenda add you to the list. The NACO annual conference is coming up in December. Are you coming, Mike?
I don't think so.
Okay. I would like, as many commissioners to come as possible. It is December
13, 14, 15.
And, St. Carney, it's a good time, lots of networking and educational opportunities. What else we have going on? So I mentioned something about our call with the governor last week, and he said something really peculiar. He said he is really against this advanced life service that the ambulance services are providing. He really thinks that they should just be very minimally trained, basic first responders. And I'm afraid he's gonna make this issue, and we talked about it on the NACO call, and we are really lucky to have a private ambulance service. There are lots of counties that put just as much into ambulance as they do sheriff's department, and it's a tremendous cost savings for us.
So he basically wants to go backwards?
He wants to go backwards.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And it just doesn't make any sense that you wouldn't want to bring.
Well, you're not
advanced
getting
life
qualified
service.
volunteers anymore. Nobody wants to take the classes. When I left
Right.
Memorial, you just don't get people wanting to step up and be an EMT, or, they've raised the bar so high, you've either gotta be an EMT, you're not just a transporter. When I got on that fire department 38 years ago, we put them in there and we hauled them to the hospital and we just moved bodies. We never did any doctoring. I think they wanna go back to part of that. I'm sure we can still do a certain amount of things, but you can't, when I got off the department about 5 years ago, we had a horrible time getting anybody that wanted to do the EMT training in those little towns. You can probably, Scotts Bluff, you can probably come up with it, but you get in little towns, it's tough.
I think part of the problem with the governor may be that he lives in a rural or a residential urban area where you have quick access to hospital and advanced medical care. Out here in western Nebraska, especially the sand hills, you don't have that. I mean, Valentine, for instance, between Valentine and North Platte, you're looking 97 miles or more just to get to urgent care. So my feelings on this, we definitely need to promote advanced life-saving skills on our ambulances because we live in a rural area and time counts. It really does.
NACO's is submitting a property tax reduction plan to the governor's office. The governor put together a committee to look at valuation process and trying to put a cap on that. And I believe that the solution that NACO's presented is they took the median of like the 4 middle of the road counties, and they the way that they presented this is that it suggests that this would result in a 20% reduction in property taxes.
I would think so. This 15% we just took, I felt like was 5%.
It was, yeah.
Too high
So,
before they started.
this working group that the governor put together includes the League of Municipalities, the counties, the schools, the ESUs, and colleges, and none of the other bodies submitted a plan. It was just the counties that submitted a plan. So we're hopeful that the governor will run with it. I think we're just really lucky to have John Cannon in the seat that he's in for us, having been with the property tax so long. He's really got a good idea of what could move this thing forward, so. I think that's really all I have.
Okay, move on to staff. Anybody?
At our next meeting, I will have Kyle Long here. You had asked that I get a hold of him, and we'll discuss the airport authority next meeting. He had asked that we could do a contract negotiation, and we discuss, and he could, excuse me, present some thoughts, some ideas of how he would suggest we proceed.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, that and, the interlocal for the VSO in Kimball County. They'll be coming forward next meeting. Sorry I did not get it here this meeting.
Thank you for I did speak to a commissioner from Kimball County. Their need is not so much to have him on site doing the work. They need more his signature and his expertise to assist, his blessing to assist with Kimball County. He didn't feel that it was going to increase the workload at this office much at all. Most of it will be handled down in Kimball County, which I felt pretty good about.
But he also said he didn't wanna just sign his name to everything. He kinda wants to be a part of it.
Well, yeah, he'd have to look it over and approve it also.
Did they approve it, Lisa?
Matt,
Like, they were gonna meet about it the next day after
they were
we
gonna
did, right?
meet about it, but we have to initiate the interlocal,
Okay.
which we need to bring that in front of you. Matt needs to approve it. It wasn't ready for this meeting. We'll do
Okay.
it next meeting, and then we'll give to them, but you're right, it's truly Matt. They have a dynamo gal down there that can do all the office work. It's just how much, and I think like Kelly just said, Matt had definitely a want to be, if I'm putting my name to it, I wanna put my face to it too, kinda attitude, so.
And we'll leave that up to him.
Right.
That's not what they were expecting, and you know, Matt will do what he needs to do to make sure it's right. Yeah.
Correct.
Right, okay. Anything else, Lisa?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think that's all I had.
I just had a comment or an inquiry, I guess, something I'd like to learn during that airport meeting. What sort of revenue does the airport get off of each building that we own? And then
We can
also,
get that.
what costs do we have with each building that we own?
Okay, that we can do, insurance costs I can do.
Okay.
That we have, as far as the revenue from each, we can give you the total revenue they receive.
What I was at their budget.
Yeah.
And their income off the farm and the building, I thought was what they were posting, $400,000.
That's always been the
On
number
all
that's been out
buildings
there.
or just the
I think it was just a farm ground, what the farm ground.
I wonder if they'd provide it, yeah.
They
We'll
would.
have,
I think we need to ask for that when they come.
Yeah, that's something we should ask them. Maybe let them know we want that information before they get here. That way they can bring it with
well,
them.
and when I'm talking, we're just having a meeting with us, and then we can
Right.
coordinate the meeting, right?
Right,
Okay,
yep.
so see if we can get it before.
And then, do we have any other costs? Are there buildings out there that we pay tax on? Okay, so none of those are actual revenue generating for us.
For the community or county.
It is for the airport authority, but not for us.
So are they paying the taxes on those then?
There's no tax, it's all.
We own
it's-
the building, so we don't have any tax.
Well, right, but just like the buildings that we own, that we get revenue off of.
Such as the Keno
Such as
building.
the Keno
Yeah.
building.
What is
But we
the
don't get
public
any revenue.
purpose of the buildings that we're not paying tax on?
Well, and out there, it's all on county ground too.
Right.
Does
But
that
it's
make a
same-
difference?
But it's the same thing as the Keno parlor, so we're getting revenue by renting the Keno parlor and
But we're
that
renting
sort of
it to a
stuff, and so we
private
put
entity.
that building on the tax rolls.
We'll have to talk to our assessor about that.
That
Yeah,
goes to a
we,
private entity.
we're renting it as opposed to the airport authority renting it out.
Shouldn't be any different.
It shouldn't be any
We don't-
different,
it
I see
Shouldn't
your
be,
point.
it shouldn't be, but there is.
So
That's-
if there's
that's the
hangars,
difference.
if there are hangars out there that are being rented to private individuals for the purpose of
Rising.
generating revenue for the airport authority.
The sprayers.
Those buildings should be on the tax rolls.
That's
You
why
would
they should have
think.
never been given away free and clear, just to, that we would pay the expenses, and
Yeah.
eliminate the income. It should have never happened. But we can reverse that in 5 minutes, but
Right.
I don't, we've gotta decide if that's what we really wanna do.
Well, that's why we need all this information, because I believe those I mean, somebody who's, if we've got an entity out there that's,
We went down the path 3 years ago where the FedEx, not ground, the other one, is on airport property, and it's like, you're totally you're not exempt activities. And basically, we were told, no, we could not go down that path to tax that building.
who told us that?
Well, I remember Jerry Ostick being involved, and Amy was I mean, this is when Amy Ramos did this big project. I'll have to find my paperwork on that as well.
Is Jerry on the board or what?
Jerry is on he represents the airport
represents
authority.
He's our legal counsel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
We were-
think we should be taking direction from.
I don't know if it was
No,
from
I think
him, but
that's
he
right.
went further than that. Let me find my you have a valid question, and I'll see if I can find my support from what we had before.
Project, I think Amy did a project a couple of years ago where she went through all of the county-owned properties and tried to figure out whether or not the use was non-taxable.
And that was one of them.
Taxable, and that was in there.
Yeah, and I do have some documentation, just gotta pull it up here.
Okay. I think we should take a look at those, and if some of those buildings need to be on the tax rolls, I think we should put them back on the
If
tax rolls.
we can, but being an airport authority, I think made a difference. Yeah, it was airport ground. But ground, FedEx ground could be taxed, which is just outside
Yeah,
the
but
airport boundary.
But if you back up 5 years ago, they didn't have that big terminal, they didn't have those 2 big hangars they built, they didn't have the new fire station, they've got a lot of brand new, they had a bunch of dumpy hangars, and it didn't cost much to insure that.
But we still own them.
We do, but
We
all
own
we
the-
were insuring at
yeah.
that time, back in, was it 96, or when was that put out?
2006
Well,
was
whenever
the
they
memo.
signed that agreement, you know, we didn't own nothing but a bunch of old hangars and the old terminal, so there wasn't much to insure at that time. They
Yeah.
really increased that.
Absolutely, so
They
that's
put
the concern.
$10 million worth of property out.
So, it ought to be at least part of what Kyle thinks about in his presentation to us, and what our assessor's office thinks. Now with Amy not being there, let's just be sure that we're, number one, we wanna be doing it in the proper legal way. If
Absolutely.
there's some state statutes that.
And we've included
then-
Kyle on
Right.
all of it.
Yeah.
And then besides that, then, from a legal perspective, if we're within the legal bounds, where should we be in comparison, from our county assessor standpoint? But Amy apparently,
Has already gone down the path, I
Have
just
went
gotta
down
find
that
you the
path.
verbiage, cause she went to
Right.
state with the question, and they said, no,
Right.
you can't
And-
tax them. So,
Well, that's
but,
just FedEx,
good.
we have a lot of other questions, I think your
Well,
questions.
Kyle's been doing some work on it already. We involved him right from the get-go on it, so he's pretty aware of what's going on with statutes. Okay, Lisa, anything else? Dave,
No.
you have anything?
No.
Anybody else? Okay, nothing on legislation. At this time, I entertain a motion to move into executive session, because to discuss personnel. In that executive session will be the board and Lisa.
Steve
And
Baird.
at a particular point, not
Yeah,
right away.
At a certain point, right.
And not right away,
Not right away.
okay? So I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion, go into executive session for personnel.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I'm glad you're here.
Record your
I'll check
votes.
on that stuff that I'm getting to you, I apologize.
Okay to close?
Close, move into executive session at 5:18.
I did change. Yeah, and it's been a little bit crazy for me lately, so we, all of a sudden, we get 3 little potential interests, like,
All right. Need a motion to move back in,
I gotta,
oh, I'm sorry.
had to get the video going, now I'm ready, I think.
Need a motion to move back into regular session at 6:56.
I move.
I'm sorry, I was not prepared to take a roll call on returning.
Okay,
Can I do roll call real quick?
yeah,
Meyer,
yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Knapper,
Yes.
Reisig, Blue,
Yes.
Okay, just for the record, no action was taken, and there's no other business, we're adjourned.
Alright, Mark Harris, I'll need your papers.